It's really great to meet you, Chris. Thank you so much for
Yeah, you
hopping
too.
on. Before we dive in on this is how the call is gonna go, we're gonna start with your background and how you got to be a founder and a CEO, and then what industry trends you're currently seeing in cybersecurity specifically. Can you share a little bit about your role as a founder and managing director and how it fits into the bigger picture for optimized cyber solutions?
Of course I can. I think it's probably relevant if I start with my background. 2 years ago, worked for the Ministry of Defence, so the UK, and I started off in electronics, electrical engineering, and never ever envisaged that I would move into cybersecurity. 22 years ago, it was very much component level, in-depth telecommunications, etc. This then merged over time, and we in the UK have aptitude tests and screening tests that allow you to apply for certain roles and additional responsibilities and training. I was fortunate that I passed these aptitude tests and I was screened and trained, and I was selected to represent the UK in what we call the National Cybersecurity Centre. So it's the UK government headquarters for intelligence, and effectively my role in there was one of the UK's leading cyber incident coordinators. And what that means effectively is that the largest incidents that would happen in the UK from a cyber perspective, if they were triaged and were deemed severe or had an impact on the UK, they would come to someone like myself, who I would help coordinate the recovery and also transpose that information into understandable knowledge and present that to the UK government. So acting as that kind of mediator, helping the victim recover, but also understanding the risks and passing that forward to government for them to be able to analyse.
Super important work. I feel like
Yeah, no, it's so good, but it did form the
training,
basis of when I started, and there were many organisations that I could see that could have prevented cyber
exactly.
incidents from happening in the first place.
More proactive rather than reactive, because the loss is devastating. I think you even have that in your about section. It's so much easier to be protected than have to recuperate from a loss like that. That can be devastating.
Yeah, for sure. And I saw that firsthand, which gave me the idea to use the things I'd learned in my government role and develop that into a commercial business where I can actually go out there and provide some kind of support that can prevent these incidents from happening in the first place, which is kind of why we launched Optimize. So Optimize Cyber Solutions, based in the United Kingdom, and we are a cybersecurity awareness training provider. But we focus primarily on the people side. I know we spoke about the people, the process, the technology. The technology, yeah, it needs its place. It has its function. It is required. It's the foundations of any cybersecurity. But the people element of it needs just as much focus, if not more, as in the UK, 90% of all our incidents are caused through human error.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, for sure. And in particularly with the advancements in AI and social engineering, etc., we've seen a lot more increase in kind of the threat levels, the threat attacks, and the numbers of the threats, particularly on the small to medium enterprises as well.
Yeah, a lot of people that I've been interviewing have seen these same trends, like small, medium-sized businesses are the ones being targeted. So what would you say to those business owners that think cybersecurity is like a nice to have rather than a nice to have?
Yeah, we see that a lot. So with regards to when we do our outreach for our marketing and we're trying to promote our services, we go out to businesses and we engage and we ask the question of what elements of cybersecurity awareness are you looking into? And a lot of organizations don't see or realize the risks until it's too late. And then, yeah, we try and not scare people, just get across the message of rather than investing everything in some technology, we say technology has its place, but invest in your people, train your people. It can be the most cost-effective way of preventing a cyber incident is by building a culture within an organization that is cybersecurity aware.
And what does that conversation typically looks like? Are you targeting businesses with identifiable personal information? What kind of business owners are you talking to?
In the UK, we're targeting all organizations from initial startups, charities, lots of charity works, lots of legal sector, lots of financial sector, and large organizations, so every single organization is at risk. And we try and explain that it doesn't, cyber attacks and cyber criminals don't really discriminate. It's an opportunistic environment where threat actors are targeting whoever they can get financial reward from, or whoever they can see to be an easy victim.
I agree completely with you. I feel like every business in this day of time is a technology business and
Yes.
needs to invest in proper technology and most importantly training to prevent this.
Yes.
And so,
Sure.
Chris, what does a typical day like in the life of a founder and managing director actually look?
Yes, very busy, as you can imagine. But I still firsthand get out and so our training, we have an e-learning training, which we deliver and distribute, but we see that as a supplement for our face-to-face training.
Okay.
So from an educational background that we have educators that work here within Optimize, and we have found that 90% of memory retention is delivered through face-to-face training as opposed to e-learning being 5, 10, maximum 15% memory retention.
Yeah.
So where possible, I try and get out and deliver training to our clients and customers. I try and firsthand pass on my experiences and also helping my training team to develop new content, look at what's current, look at what's relevant. So we're continuously keeping updated to make sure that we're ahead of the game with regards to the awareness piece that we deliver.
So with a lot of the code being written by AI nowadays, by the developers, what are some of the threats that you've been identifying in businesses that are relying on AI written code? Because I was speaking to an auditor last week, and he even mentioned that now AI is actually being used for control testing as well.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on that?
So good point, and I'm glad you mentioned AI. So where we see AI being used, so if I rewind probably 5 years ago, most type and forms of attack would come via some form of phishing. It would be developed, probably poorly written, bad English spelling, poor grammar, and it was quite noticeable and easy to train people to become aware of. With advancements in technology, particularly AI, we look at things like deepfake video AI, so voice cloning, video cloning, and particularly with forms of attacks like business email compromise or spoofing organizational data. AI can be used now to learn not just the tone and language of an organization, it can be used to represent their culture, but also it can be used to clone individuals. Particularly, for example, we're seeing a lot at the minute is threat actors proposing and pretending to be, for example, directors of companies. They will clone their organizational emails, their tone, their language. They will clone their voice and their video, and using this to manipulate, put under time constraints and pressure, particularly office juniors, people that work in administration roles, and manipulating individuals by asking and facilitating requests for things such as PayPal card payments, things that are just low cost but have an high impact. In particular, organizations mimicking other organizations as well. For example, if my company had a recent deal with, say, company X, and we had posted it on our social media, on LinkedIn, to say, we have fantastic opportunity, we're working with company X, it's a great partnership. What threat actors are doing is using AI to clone and pretend and effectively act as a man in the middle and changing things like invoice details and banking details, not just changing without messaging, changing now and actually manipulating each side of the agreement. So telling company X that, oh, our payment's going to be late, so apologies, and then going to company Y and saying, oh, we've got bank issues, so there may be some time delay. And then these transactions, by the time it's been discovered, it's gone, it's swept away.
That is insane. I have never heard of that, but that is actually quite scary. So we really have to make sure we're talking to the right person and verifying email address that is coming from.
Exactly that. And it's no longer just checking and verifying an email or accepting a voicemail or, so for example, people are using like a dual factor authentication using AI as a way to manipulate that. For example, sending an email proposing to be someone and then leaving a voice message or an artificial voice message created by AI to say, apologies, just sent you that email. They feel that they've received an email from that individual, and they also feel that they've just heard that individual speak or leave a message. So what we promote now is a real-time live action call, give someone a physical call and have that discussion just to say, are you sure of that has just happened, which is just part of our processes, and speak to an individual in real time.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I feel like it is good because you'll be in touch with the subject matter expert, which will continue to develop the relationship within the
Sure.
business and preventing these type of attacks.
Yes.
So that's a lot of the downsides from AI. But now let's talk about the upside of AI. In your own
Yes.
business, how have you implemented AI so far? And what impact has it had on your growth strategy?
Wow, good question. So it's something we're actually looking at implementing. So plan for the future. As I mentioned earlier, we have an an e-learning portal, our Cyber Academy, which is an interactive e-learning training academy. And what my ambition and my aim was is to have my knowledge or someone like me sat on everybody's shoulder. So if anybody had a question, rather than having to look and find that information from somewhere, they could go, hey, Chris, and ask the question, and an expert or expert answer would be able to provide that answer. Now, we are looking at implementing an AI chatbot into our e-learning portal
Yeah.
that gathers the information just from us, but also doesn't leave that organization. So it can be confidential. But we're also looking to link this as well to, for example, to that organization's policies. For example, if they have a cyber incident response policy and an individual clicks on a link, cannot remember what to do, they can ask their AI chatbot and say, "What I've clicked on a link, what do I do?" And it will give them an exact answer in accordance with their policy there and then that's achievable. But it doesn't leave their network, so it's not passing information to outside servers. Everything's kept internal to that organization. So that's something we're developing at the minute, which I think is fantastic.
Yeah,
We
no,
use
really
we use AI as well quite a lot for looking at vulnerabilities, predominantly just open source vulnerabilities. So using tools such as ChatGPT just to see what information is actually out there about organizations, get them to do that discovery upon themselves.
very interesting. Yeah, I feel like having that real-time feedback, even if it's via chat, it's actually
Yes,
synthesizing all of the information that could be in the training to help
sure.
you alleviate that problem. And when it comes to using ChatGPT, it can also save you a lot of time and it'll
Hell
give
yeah.
you a lot of insights on what's really out there as available public information.
Yes, exactly that.
And so, what would you say is actually working really well for you, and what has been frustrating for the past 5 years since AI came around?
Yeah, what's working well? Reverting back to face training. I think that's worked really well for us. So everybody went down the e-learning route and people learn differently. So we
Yeah.
changed our business model to offer training to anybody in any style that they want to receive it. So if you prefer
Mm,
face-to-face training, that's fine. If you prefer e-learning, that's fine. If you prefer playing a game, so a gamification, an actual game, then you
nice.
can learn through that way, depending on whatever ticks your fancy and works for you. Our business model has now changed to say, actually, we can provide training for individuals. Let the individual choose how they want to learn.
That's golden because you're right. Every single person learns differently. And if you
Yes.
can come up with different ways of delivering the training that they need, I think that's a really huge value added for the business.
Yeah, fantastic. And we put our people first. We can, at the end of the day, in order for us to be successful, we have to ensure that the people at the end of the course that sat there absorbing that information leave with the best knowledge retention possible. And we let them decide, as you rightly say, let the individual decide how they want to learn. There's many organizations opted for e-learning, purely primary e-learning, looking at tick box compliance and saying we just need to do this training because we have to. Everybody that's done e-learning knows that it's just a click, go to the end, do the test.
Yeah, it's not.
How much information do people retain? Exactly. So we kind of go, right, scrap that and let's look at an optimum way of learning. And we found that's been very successful. So organizations that would have historically had just primary e-learning have gone, can we have face-to-face delivery? And during that, we talk about AI and we actually teach in the lessons ourselves the AI elements and how AI can be used as a positive, as very much as we're saying, and how also it can be used as a negative as well.
Yeah,
So
it's a
we teach
double-edged
all
sword.
the kind of the pros and cons of it.
That's incredible. I'm really proud of what you're doing. It really does look like optimized cyber solutions. It's really tailored to each specific business and way of learning for their team. And if you could solve like a major challenge in your company today, if you had like a magic wand and go ahead and
Yes,
boom, I want to be here next month, what
yes.
would that look like for you?
It would be getting in front of clients or potential future clients
Mhm.
and
Okay.
explaining to them the services that we do. I think the hardest part is explaining to companies and organizations the benefits. I mean, I'm ultra passionate, always
You
our team
really
are
are.
ultra passionate, but getting that message and that understanding of actually it's not expensive, it's affordable, and the services there can save you a lot of time, resource, and money in the long run just by taking and adopting this kind of understanding that cybersecurity awareness is crucial.
And even data, like nowadays, data is like
Yes,
valued more than gold itself. So
yes.
definitely getting in front of the right people is the key. All of the companies that you've held in the past, do you see any trends of the type of clients that are more open to investing in cybersecurity training and the technologies behind it as well?
Yeah, we deal with quite a number of different organizations of different sectors. We're finding at the minute charities, charitable organizations, some of them hold some very highly sensitive information. A lot of them run by volunteers, lots of members of staff, lots of volunteers, and not necessarily that much resource. So we've actually got a government scheme that funds some of our training,
Yeah, no,
and it's been brilliant. So that's really helped some of the smaller, say, charitable organisations, even some large charitable organisations, get that funding that they need to provide them with that training. Now, yeah, we've got charities, but we also have companies that are compliant, have to have training. So organisations, for example, that are ISO 27001, so an industry standard, mandates that you have to have cyber awareness training. And we've seen organisations in the past that have said, we've had incidents in the past and they've been very close. However, we have an e-learning training portal. It's not really been that successful because these incidents have got through. Can we look and adopt some face-to-face training to complement the e-learning that they currently have? So yeah,
amazing.
you've got the ones that need it for compliance, the ones that have had the near misses, and the ones that really care about it as well. They all care, but the ones that really understand the value of the training.
Yeah, yeah. So it's really just about getting in front of the right people at this point to be able to explain that it's not really that expensive, but it's like necessary for them to have it in place.
Exactly that. And I think personally, you see the frustration where organizations will spend large percentages of their budget on technology and not invest in the training that
And the
supplements it.
people.
It's in the people. Exactly that.
Yeah, no. This has been so great, Chris. I cannot thank you enough from the bottom of my heart for sharing all of these insights. I
Nice one.
definitely know that the clips that we're gonna deliver to you are gonna be super informative for the audience as well, and I'm excited to share that on my platform too. I learned about you and your company, and I'll go into your website and do a little bit more research. So I'll go through your LinkedIn a little more, and I will put together a growth plan for the next 30,
Fantastic.
60, 90 days to see what that would actually look like. But what I can promise you is that I'll get you in front of the right people by pre-qualifying them and
Awesome.
by helping you have genuine conversations with people where they're
Fantastic.
gonna be open to learning more about cybersecurity because every business is a technology business and the
Yes.
people are the ones that need to be responsible.
For sure. I
For,
mean, what's great, Louis, is that our e-learning portal, we're looking at selling that internationally. So with our fit training face to face, we're restricted to the geographical location of where we are. But with regards to our e-learning portal, we developed that with the intentions. It will be accredited by the National Cybersecurity Centre of the UK, which follows the ISO 27001. So it's a tool that can be used internationally.
yeah, no, and I mean that's the beauty about this time of day. Like many people here in America, for example, could actually benefit from having something like you. I'm not sure if you're gonna put like the AI chat in your website, but if anybody has a question, they could simply
Yes,
go there. And if they're subscribed for like the training or something like that, they can
for
easily access
sure.
information.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, fantastic. But on our website, there's a link that demonstrates, that demos our e-learning portal. So on our Cyber Academy, it shows you what it is. We have a little character called Opti. You'll see, it's quite cool.
Amazing. Thank you so much for your time, Chris.
Sounds really good, Louis. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for being here and sharing your insights. It was truly an honor, Chris.
No, lovely to meet you, mate. Thank you so much.